Hola clase! Today we're going to talk about E to IE stem changing verbs, so make sure you have your E to IE stem changing verbs note guide available and that you're filling it out as we go through the PowerPoint together. Okay, it says that stem changes occur in the stem of the verb. The stem is everything except the ending. Well, I'll explain those things better in just a second, but please pause the video and fill out the first part of Part A that has the blanks missing from the statements. All right, so here are some examples. We know these verbs already: hablar, comer, and escribir. Notice these are all examples of AR, ER, and IR verbs because we know there are three types in Spanish, and they are AR, ER, and IR. Okay? Well, we know those are called the ending. AR, ER, IR are the endings of the verb, and everything that is left over when you remove the ending is called the stem. Okay? So for hablar, HABL is the stem because that is everything that's left over when you remove the ending. Okay? The verbs listed above do not change in the stem. So notice here HABL has no changes from the infinitive, right? Same thing here. Comer, COM, nothing changes here. Okay? We'll get into that in just a minute. Just want you to notice that there are two parts to a verb, the stem and the ending. All right, here are some more examples of verbs that we already know. These verbs do not have changes in the stem, okay? But I do want you to be able to pick apart the verb and identify the stem and the ending, even if it does not have a change in the stem. Okay, so none of these stem change, but we do need to mark down the stem and the ending for each of the verbs listed on the note guide. Pause the video. All right, the following 6 verbs from this lesson have E to IE changes in the stem that occur in their present tense conjugations. Notice there are AR, ER, and IR verbs that are E to IE stem changers. Okay, so 6 verbs that we're learning that are they're new to us in conjugation ways from E to IE. This is weird. We've not used anything, conjugated any verbs that have a change in the stem until now. Okay. 3 of those verbs, empezar, cerrar, and pensar, are all AR verbs. Okay? 2 of them, entender and querer, are ER verbs. And then there is one, preferir, that is an IR verb. All right, also please notice that I've underlined here the E that will change in the stem when you conjugate the verb. Okay? Also, when you conjugate the verb, just like we've already learned, you do have to pay attention to the type of ending. If it's an AR verb, o, as, a, amos, an. If it's an ER verb, o, es, a, amos, en. And if it's an IR verb, the endings would be o, es, a, emos, en. Remember that ER and IR verbs are different conjugations in the nosotros form. Also, please notice some of these verbs have more than one E. Here's an E, and here's an E in the stem. I will explain how to choose which E to change and which to leave alone. You do not change both. All right, at this time I need you to pause the video and fill in the next part of Part A of the note guide where it asks you to write down the 6 E to IE stem changing verbs and what they mean in English. Okay, so up until this lesson, you haven't learned any verbs that stem change. You will need to memorize the ones that stem change as you learn them. So make sure that you learn that these 6 verbs that we've learned in this lesson are E to IE stem changing verbs and that you must stem change them, okay, when you conjugate. All right, so the verbs that you've learned up until now that do not change, please do not make changes in those. Those are not stem changing verbs. It's only the 6 that we're talking about in this video. All right, stem changing verbs have regular AR, ER, and IR endings. You still need to conjugate them using the endings you have learned. For E to IE stem changing verbs, the E will change to IE in all forms except nosotros and vosotros. Let's go ahead and pause the video and fill in that last part of Part A from this, according to the information from this 3rd bullet point. Okay, finally, when an E to IE stem changing verb has more than one E in the stem, the change will occur in the one closest to the ending. So look at our example here. Preferir is an E to IE stem changing verb. There is more than one E in the stem. So the one that you will change is the one that is closest to the ending, but not part of the ending. Okay, so this E is closest to the ending, but not part of it. So you will change this E to IE when you conjugate. Okay, except, remember, in nosotros and vosotros. This information is listed for part A on your note guide, so you don't have to fill that part in. The information is available. All right, let's talk about this verb cerrar, means to close. It is a stem changing verb, which means you change this E to IE. Remember, in all forms except nosotros and vosotros. So notice in all the forms, the yo form, tú, él, ella, usted, and ellos, ellas, ustedes, that this E has changed to IE. Not only that, but we've dropped the AR and added the correct ending for AR verbs. O, as, a, amos, an. I'd also like you to note, these verbs are also called boot verbs or shoe verbs because you can actually draw a shoe, a boot, around the ones that change. Okay, so notice that with my cursor here, with my arrow, I'm just drawing a boot around these verbs because they will change. The ones that are not inside the shoe or the boot are left out, right? Cerramos, and then here would be the vosotros form. So again, they are called shoe or boot verbs as well. You may hear that, I may refer to that in class, and so on. Okay, let's pause the video and fill in part B of the note guide. All right, here's another E to IE stem changing verb, but this verb, querer, is an ER verb instead of an AR verb. So notice the endings match ER endings. O, es, a, hemos, en. And notice that it does stem change here, 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 and here. Okay, remember we can draw the shoe or the boot around these forms that change, leaving out the two that don't, the nosotros and the vosotros. You don't need to fill this in on your note guide. I do want to show you one more example, this one being an IR verb. Notice there are IR verb endings, which are a little different here. Notice nosotros has IMOS instead of EMOS, but the rest of the endings do match ER verbs as well. And notice here that the E has changed from to IE in all of these forms that you can draw the boot or shoe around, okay? And also this is one of the verbs that actually has two E's in the stem. Here's one too. Make sure that you change the one that is closest to the ending without being part of it. Practiquemos. Conjugate these E to IE stem changing verbs. Okay, the first one wants us to write, I understand everything. Okay, entender means to understand. We need to conjugate this verb and stem change it in order to match the yo form. So what we will do, because we know that we have to stem change in all forms except nosotros and vosotros, is we will write ENT, then we will change this E and mark it IE. Then we'll write ND so that we get the entire stem back, okay? And then we notice that yo is the subject, so drop the ER and add O. Entiendo. Yo entiendo todo. I understand everything. Pause the video and fill in 2 through 6. Okay, let's check our answers. All right, preferir in the to form. Notice it's a question, so our subject pronoun came after the verb. We do stem change in the to form, so notice here our IE, and it is an an IR verb, so the to form has ES on the end. Prefieres. ¿Prefieres tú escuchar música? Do you prefer to listen to music? Okay, número 3. My grandparents plan to travel. Okay, mis abuelos is my grandparents. It's like saying they. Pensar is an AR verb, so we know what we know we have to put AN on the end after we drop the AR, and we must stem change. Piensan. Okay. 4. My brother starts school today. Okay, so the verb empezar must stem change when we say he begins. Okay, and it's also an AR verb, so we need to conjugate with the correct AR ending, which would be a. Empieza. All right, 5. La tienda cierra pronto. The store closes soon. Okay, la tienda is not a person. However, in Spanish, nouns have gender. La tienda is not only feminine, but singular, so it's like saying ella. We will conjugate the verb as though it's ella. So notice we dropped the AR and have an A there, right? But here we have stem changed from E to IE because you have to do that in the ella form, so cierra. Finally, The verb querer is an ER verb, so notice we have dropped the ER and added EMOS. And we have not stem changed. We did not change the E to IE, we left it as is, because remember in the nosotros form you do not stem change. Nosotros queremos ir al gimnasio, we want to go to the gym. Write any questions you may have on your note guide and make sure you ask them as soon as class begins. There will be a 5-point mini quiz the next day at the very beginning of class. Please take the initiative to watch the video more than once in order to fully and completely understand the content covered in the video and or to help clear up any confusion. At this time, make sure you fill out Part D of your note guide. If you have any questions, adios.